This episode of On the Line is presented to you by Living.fit, your one stop for all your fitness needs. Make sure you go download the app Living.fit today. Now here's the show. Welcome to On the Line. Today is Tuesday, May 3rd, first May show of the year. We got a great show for you guys. We got Randy Rude Boy Brown on the show. Always love talking to him. We got CJ Vergara making a second ever UFC fight this weekend. But before we get into all of that, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We'll listen on Apple, Spotify, Deezer, Stitcher, or any podcasting platform. Hit that follow. Maybe leave a review. That'd be pretty sick. But anyway, Randy Brown, always fun talking to him, man. We talk about everything from his breaking his toes on a dude's face to his upcoming opponent to ATVs, all kinds of shit. Then we got CJ Vergara talk about his upcoming fight where he doesn't have to worry about the lights being so bright. You'll see what I mean when you listen to it. But anyway, it was fun too. So without further ado, let's go on into Randy Brown. 3, 2, 1. We are joined. Where's the Los Angeles hat? I feel like that's like the signature Randy Brown look. Where's the LA hat?
Oh, is it? Shoot, I don't know. Sometimes I got a New York hat. Sometimes I got an LA hat. You know how it go.
Is that like LA hat? I don't know. I swear I always see it. Anyway, all right, 3, 2, 1. Bop. All right, we are joined by a very special guest, one of my favorite guests. He has a big fight coming up at UFC 274. We are joined by the Brain Shaker, Randy Brown, my man. What's up? How we doing?
What's up, my man? How you been?
Doing great. Been great. How are your toes? I feel like they've been through some shit.
Bro, everybody's asking me about my toes. Literally, everybody's always asking me, like, yo, how's your feet doing? How's the toe?
They're all right, you broke it on someone's face. I mean, what do you expect us to ask? Like,
nah, they good, man. They're good. I'm back healthy. You know what I mean? I'm sprinting on them. I'm twisting on them. I'm jumping. I'm kicking with them. So I'm ready to hopefully not break them off on somebody else's face again.
No, we don't want to see that happen again. How did you ever go back and count how many times you put it back into place?
I did actually. I think it was like 24 or some crazy shit like that.
24 times?
Yeah, I tweeted about it too. It was a crazy amount of times I snapped it back in. It was nuts because I couldn't miss that. Shit. I had no balance when I was stepping on it. Like when I walked, it was the weirdest. It just felt like mush and gush. Every time I would drive off my back foot, it just felt gushy and weird. So I had to pop it back in to get that drive.
Oh my God. And then you just put it back in place, right? And then you were chilling. Like after the fight, you put it back in. Like what ended up happening? It's obviously a surgery on it, and that was kind of a process.
It's something called turf toe. I had like a severe case of turf toe. Like there's a something called a plantar's plate in your foot right there. And what I did was I tore that tendon all the way down. It rolled up to like the middle of my foot. Whew. And then the socket of the big toe goes in, I like broke that shit in like mad different places. And then me clicking it back in didn't help neither. So it was fucked up. I did a real number on my foot.
You fucked your shit up just kicking a dude in the face. Who would have thought?
And he ate that shit like a cookie.
Dude, for real. I mean, you wobbled him a little bit, but I mean, man, that guy he's just a brick of granite. You couldn't do shit.
That was wild. I'm telling you, 99.9% of the people in the world I hit with that kick, they sleep. They probably just waking up now.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, what? So I know, like in a post interview, you said you're just flowing too much. You're having a good time in the striking department. Was the game plan though at some point to take him down, go for like use his jiu-jitsu and check him out?
But the thing is, people don't realize is everyone is saying like, all right, why didn't you take him down? It's like I wanted to take him down, but when you have that kind of injury, you can't, because when you take somebody down, your toe is gonna be pressing in the ground like this. It has to bend, and in my head, I was just praying he didn't have any takedown attempts on me, because then I would have to dig into the ground. Notice all my punches were like arm punches. I couldn't sit and twist on nothing. I had to just kind of just open hand slap and use my hands and do a whole bunch of theatrics, you know what I mean, to get him to just not really notice.
You were slapping the shit out of him. It's just like you're like Nate Diaz in there, just fucking slapping the shit. The Brooklyn slap. I don't know what you can call it. Got to figure out like the proper name for it. But no, I noticed that too. And also, you can't really drive off the foot if your like big toe is broken. Like it is the big toe. It is like kind of the most important toe. So you really couldn't even afford like drive for a takedown. So I mean, I feel like that's his fault too, because like if you're noticing I feel like I don't know how you couldn't notice the fact that you're putting your toe back in place, or there was something wrong with your foot. So I guess that might be on him. So I kind of lucked out on that, you know, because it was,
I'm just happy it worked out that way. I'm happy he ain't toe stomped me in the moment.
No, oh yeah, those toe stomps, that really would have been a pain in the those would have hurt like a motherfucker. So was the front kick always part of like, was that like I'm gonna hit him with the front kick, I have the opening for it, or was that kind of like a flow thing?
That was just a flow. I saw the opening and I just threw it.
Okay, so it wasn't like something you saw on tape, like all right, he like leaves stuff up the middle wide open.
Nah, it's just usually when I'm in there, I'm just trying to implement martial arts. I'm just implementing my game, you know what I mean? It's something that I throw and I seen it was there, so I just took it.
And it was there, and you hit him, but he took it. Anyone else, as we said, 99.9% of people, they go sleeping, they go to sleep. So I know one more thing too. That was your third co-main event, and it's also bullshit because it's also the third co-main event that you weren't a part of the picture in the poster. Is that getting frustrating now? Like you're like, all right,
nah. It's not frustrating. I'm just cooling, man. I don't even pay that no mind. But I just joke about it and talk about like, yeah, what's good? When they gonna get me on the poster? But I know what needs to happen. You know what I mean? And that's the least of my worries. We'll get there.
Well, we'll get there. Maybe after this next fight, which I have one more question before we get into that. Is did you give away the fight kit officially? Gave it away and all that kind of stuff? And
I did. Yeah, shout out to Zion MMA on YouTube. Yeah, he all the way in. It's crazy because he lives in friggin' South Africa. I had to send that shit to South Africa.
How much was shipping for that? That had to be kind of expensive.
I don't even remember, but I know it was a lot. I sent. He got posters. He got my gloves, the whole fight kit. He got the bag, that UFC bag. He got the wraps, everything. He got
the whole deal.
He made out like a bandit.
Yeah, he got Jared Gooden's blood all over it. You know, he got everything. He got DNA evidence if you ever wanted to frame you guys. You know, he has all that ready to go. So let's move everything. So let's move on to this next fight, though. I mean, this is kind of like we haven't gotten to fight week yet, but once we get to fight week, I think most people are going to say this is the people's main event. It's going to be super exciting. Probably will steal the show. It is technically a headline of the prelims, so that's pretty cool. You get the headline ESPN, and you're going against Khaos Williams, one of the most powerful punchers in the welterweight division. Going into this fight, like, what are you kind of starting to see in this preparation?
In my preparation?
In your preparation, like, what are you seeing out of him? Like, for you, like, what are you feeling? Like, I don't know. Just
you tell me, what do you see?
What do I see? I think you're going to take him to the ground. You're going to try to choke him out because no one else has really tried to take him to the ground
yet. I mean, what does he bring to the table? You know, he's definitely a dangerous guy, but what does he present? I think it's obvious what he presents, right?
It's that power.
And I think that's it, you know, that is the great equalizer, which makes him extremely dangerous, right? But I feel like you got to hit something, man. You know what I mean? And I'm not the easiest guy to hit in there, you know. So that's pretty much it. You know, I'm just focusing on being good at what I'm good at, and just doing my game and being me, you know. So I'm just gonna show up in my best form, and if I show up in my best form, I think that's a problem for anybody.
It's a problem for the entire division if you're in your best form, especially I mean, we talked about it last time. We've had some lapses, but we got that shit all figured out. We're good to go. Rude Boy's in full 100% capacity to go into these next couple fights. So yeah, so I kind of figured, based on like kind of what I've seen, is it's going to be kind of like managing the distance, taking your opportunities right, and kind of taking advantage of maybe if you overextends, things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keeping it simple.
Very simple, exactly. And again, as I said, you said it too. I can say it seems like you do have the advantage pretty much anywhere but that power department. But then again, you also put people to sleep unless you're Jared Gooden, who can he could eat a Francis Ngannou shot, dude. I swear to God, like that shit's crazy.
I think he'll be okay.
I think he can survive a couple. Well, maybe like Stipe, after a couple, he get put to sleep. But you know, everyone gets put to sleep by Francis Ngannou shot.
That's true.
And so this is also your first time being back in front of the audience since the last crazy ass submission you performed out when you got the one arm choke on Oliveira. How stoked are you to be back in front of the fans?
Oh man, I'm super hyped. It's nothing like being in front of the fans. I got used to the Apex thing, but you know what? There's nothing like the fans, man. The fans just make you fight different. It makes you fight harder. You know, it's just that level of it brings a level of extra adrenaline. You know what I mean? That just makes you go all out. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, is your dad going to be there? Are you able to get him tickets to actually show up in person?
No. He's not going to be there, but he's definitely probably going to try to watch again. So we'll see. Okay.
I know that was a big thing with the last fight. It was the first time he was able to watch you, so I wasn't sure if maybe you're able to pull some strings.
Nah.
Couldn't pull any strings.
Nah, I don't think them strings could be pulled.
Well, I don't know. There are some high-powered people. Who knows? Dana knows a lot of people. Who knows? Anyway, no. So another thing too, when you get these kind of crowds and things like that, obviously we talked about it, the adrenaline bump. not bump. From you go into these fights, is there something you have to do to kind of relax yourself? Be like, all right, I'm going into the fight. We're going to get this little bump. Let's not try to get too invested into it. Or you're like, fuck it, let's go all in with it.
For me, I don't really try to think about it too much, man. You know, I try to just kind of just manage it. That's something that just happens. You just got to manage while you're there. And I think it based on my personality. It based on everybody's personality. You know, some people take it harder than others. For me, I'm pretty lackadaisical with certain things, so it doesn't really bother me. I just fight harder, you know, and I'm in shape to go all out. So it doesn't really affect me that, you know, just it brings a level of intense. It brings up the level of intensity. That's it. I'll just put it like that.
Okay. I mean, I think that makes sense. And I mean, luckily for you though, you've been back in front of a crowd since the pandemic, so it's not like it's a brand new thing for the first time in like 3 years. So
Yeah,
at least you have that experience of being back in. I'm not even sure Khaos has had that yet since the pandemic. So I'm not entirely sure if not, but that's something to keep in mind. You never know. It could come out guns blazing. You know,
yeah.
You never know. You never know. And so another thing too with that is when you get to go to Vegas, you're going to take not Vegas. You're going to I'm having Arizona. No matter what, you get the cool facilities from the UFC. They give you a bunch of like cool stuff. Are you excited to be moving away from the sauna, trash can cool down, or you're gonna kind of miss it when you get out to Arizona?
I like that personal sauna, man. I like that personal sauna. I may have if they don't provide them, I may have to find a way to get access to one. I really like that better than the full on sauna. You know that, so they kind of exposed me to that. You know, and I don't want to go back now.
Those always seem like they weren't as bad as like the full ass Sonics. At least you get your head out a little bit.
Yeah, you can
like
breathe.
Your body sweating. Yeah, you can breathe. You don't have that thick air.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you guys do what was the cool down situation like in when you guys get to those places? I know it's obviously not getting inside of a trash can. What's the
It's we had our own private room. They give you your own private room and you get to you just get to, so basically it's another hotel room. It's an extra hotel room, but they took out all the furniture, they emptied it, and they put mats in there. And that's your own personal workout room that you can go to. So every fighter has one of those rooms. Yeah. You know, they got the sauna in there, low portable sauna. They got mats. You got the heat is cranked up. You got it's private. You can do whatever you want. So personally, I enjoyed that.
No, I'm like, I know like you do the cool down, heat up kind of thing. Like you go inside your hot tub. And then you go into the trap. Then you go do the ice bath. Yeah, are you gonna be able to do that in Vegas? Or in Arizona?
No. That's done, man. That's done. I'm probably gonna do that one more time. You know, the whole purpose of that basically is to is more so for recovery. So it's a cold hot contrast. Yeah. You get into the ice. The reason I get into the ice bucket, right? And when I get into the ice, I stay in the ice for about 3 minutes. I hop out the ice and I get into the hot tub. The hot tub is set to about 105 degrees, right? You jump in the hot tub, you only get 60 seconds in the hot tub, unfortunately, right? So what happens when you get into the ice is all the blood rushes back to your organs from your appendages to protect your organs because that's the most vital area of your body. So your body says, hey, we need blood to protect, to keep everything warm inside. So your fingers are not going to have any blood, your elbows, you know what I mean, your shoulders, everything rushes back to your core. Now, when you get into the hot water, everything just shoots back out, fresh blood. So all the blood that was trapped, that battered, bruised blood from training that's trapped in certain areas, that gets flushed out. And now that's brand new blood that's filled with more nutrients from your diet and what you've been eating and everything and supplements, gets in there and it boosts recovery. So I hop back in the cold for 3 minutes, jump back in 1 minute, hop back in the cold 3 minutes, jump. So you're back and forth. And then about 5 times at the end, you end off in the hot tub. Ended in a hot tub for like 10 minutes and just cool.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, that is super nice. That's super nice. And also, you get you're debuting the tattoos this weekend. What is the ink? I saw it on the video. What do you got?
Nah, I'm not debuting it. I had that. That was already debuted in my. I had
was
that.
Was that there in the octagon? Oh, fuck. That means
it's 2 fights. 2 fights now, bro.
It's been 2 fights. Am I that? Dude, there's no way.
Yeah. 2 fights, bro.
I feel like such an idiot.
Or maybe I got it after Oliveira fight. Maybe
you might got it. I think you got because I didn't see it before your last fight. I think I got it after Oliveira because I swear I would have said something about it.
Yeah, you're right. I got it. I think I got it after the Oliveira fight.
Yeah, and I just never saw them yet. So yeah,
Yeah,
not so you are not debuting. You had in the last fight, but we weren't able to talk about it because I didn't see it yet. So what are
yeah.
they? So technically, walk me through it. What do we got? What do we got?
I got a couple tattoos, man. A couple new tattoos. I got this one. I'm an Afro Samurai fan.
Okay.
I've been a fan of Afro Samurai for a while. You know what I mean? So I got it's a silhouette of Afro Samurai with the smoke in the background. Of all coming off his spliff. You know, so I thought that was dope. And also my favorite one that I got a tattoo on my shin. People don't really notice that one because I'm dark and then it's hairy, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's like my
yeah,
shins are hairy, so you don't really see them. But uh, Hannibal Barca. Hannibal Barca was a Carthaginian war general from Africa, right? He
yeah,
invaded
yeah.
Rome back in the day, right? He was supposed to be one of the most notorious and most ingenious war generals of that time. And they actually crossed the sea with elephants, right, on elephant back to invade Rome, and they actually won, right? They were winning, right, until they were betrayed, and then it's a long story. I'm not even gonna get into the whole thing, but it's a picture of an elephant, with all the armor on it and shit, and he's on the back of it, so it's like it's kind of dope.
That's
So I
pretty
got
cool.
that on my shin.
Okay, okay, and then it's the eyes. Is that what they are
On
on
the
the
eyes, I
chest?
had those forever. I had
Really?
those forever.
God, man, I must be so blind. I'm a tattoo. I'm not a tattoo guy myself, but I respect people
Yeah.
who get tattoos. I love like hearing about it. So
Now the eyes,
I feel like
these
such
are
a
like
fucking
these are
idiot.
like high school tattoos that are just like bad high school tattoos that are,
Okay,
that
okay, okay.
that need to get retouched and other shit covering it up.
Yeah, yeah, those. I mean, the chest ones are pretty easy to cover up because they're not like anything too crazy. They're just dark, and you can just do like
Yeah,
dark stuff with them. Not too complicated.
small.
Yeah, yeah, they're small, which helps, and they're not
Yeah.
bright. That's the other thing; they're not bright, so you don't have to worry about like completely covering up. And
I've seen
so,
some bad tattoos. I'm
ooh,
not gonna, shout out to homie that got damage across his chest.
Elkins.
Tat ain't that bad.
Yeah, you need that. You're going to the grave with that one. That one's I've always thought about when you get tattoos like that. It's like when you're like 65, 70, if you make it that old, and like you're like an old grandpa, like I don't know, you're like little grandkids see like the damage across your chest and your old frail body. I don't know. I always think about those visuals with that kind of stuff. It's just like, oh man.
This is
Oh,
looking crazy, right?
it's looking crazy as hell. It just looks completely out of place. Like midlife crisis at 65, 70. Like, grandpa, why'd you do that? But I don't know. It is what it is. So also, I know you're also big into ATVs, and that's something
Mm.
again we didn't get into last time. I'm like 99% sure you drove by me when I visited New York. And I'm because I was at a bar coastal and all of a sudden all the ATVs started going by. And I was like, I know someone who does that, and I need to remember who it was. And I was like, oh shit, it's Randy. So I was just like 99% chance it was you. I'm pretty sure you were part of that crew. Do you always do that when you guys go down the streets of New York?
Yeah, it's bike culture is huge in New York. You know what I mean? Bike
Yeah.
culture is real big in New York. Yeah, it is what it is, man. We just outside. We're outside every summer. We're outside throughout the winter. Sometime we have these big ride outs. You know what I mean? And we're just all over. We're all over, just doing it up, having fun. We're not hurting nobody. You know what I mean? We're just riding and
Yeah.
just having a good time.
And nothing crazy about it. I just remember again, as I've told you before, I'm like, I live in Indianapolis. So I don't ever see anything like that. So I was like,
Yeah,
oh, that's pretty cool. I've
that's
never
that's so
you don't
normal in New York. Like
you don't
sometimes
see
I'll
that shit.
stream it. I'll stream it on Twitch, right? And I have it on my helmet. And like people from like all over the world are like that are not used to seeing that. They're like, oh my God, like what are you doing? Like it's so dangerous. It's like, are you crazy? Nah. New
I
York,
know.
that's just a regular day in
This
New
is a
York.
normal day in New York. That's and I always knew it was normal. It's just something I'd never seen in person. It's like, oh, that's a lot. I just remember thinking to myself, it like won't stop. It's like you guys had such a huge ass line of people. Like I was almost ridiculous how many people are out doing it in the right.
Yeah, sometimes it'll be easily like sometimes 200 bikes, 200 like a Sunday, just a regular Sunday, just the pack is just 200 deep. We're just riding out. We'll meet up all in Queens, different areas, and different groups from with their pack all meet up. And then we have the main spot we meet up to, and we just ride out. We'll ride to the city. We'll go to Times Square sometimes. You know what I mean? And then we're just all over, man. All over. Sometimes we hit all the boroughs.
It's cool. It was cool. It was really cool. No, and
Yeah,
then one more thing. So before I ask you, like, how I'm not gonna ask you if you're gonna win, like, no shit, you're gonna say win. But I have one question for that. If you do win, Are you going to call out Kevin Holland, or are you going to like look for, or are you going to say like, I want someone in the top 15? Because I feel like the Kevin Holland fight would be a lot of fun.
I think the Kevin Holland fight would be cool. We'll see. There's a lot of options. Right now I just got to focus on this dude.
Mhm.
But I have a name in mind. We'll see. We'll just see.
Okay. I mean, I did not get too far ahead of yourself, but that's always something I feel like if you're a fighter, you have to at least know, at least in general, like if I do win, I have to have it ready to go. Just,
Yeah.
it's the fight.
For sure.
You have to be ready.
For sure. There's a guy. Kevin Holland's a good one, but
yeah,
I think that's just makes sense. That's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? I don't think I need to go on there and try to work to get that fight. I think that just makes sense. I think fans just want to see that. But if I don't get the fight that I want, I think that's the next best thing.
Worst case scenario, at the end of the day, that fight will probably always be there. Doesn't matter what happens, I think, at 274, which we're all hoping for the win. But if we'll say, God forbid, you lose, I think that fight will still be there for you. So.
Yeah, there's no losing in this one. Trust me.
No, there's not. At least I hope not. So actually, speaking of, last time we talked, you were talking about how you lost the performance bonus to Chaz Skelly. We actually started doing like previews with him for all like the UFC cards. He apologizes. He actually says he really respects your game because you guys did like a testing thing. And he's like, you tested like off the fucking charts. And ever since then, he had always bet a lot of money on you. So where this goes is from that 50K bonus he won, whatever it was. I don't know how much money he put down, but he said he bet a shitload of money on you against the Nico Price fight. So I think it all equals out.
All right, cool. So that's fair then. That's fair.
So it's all equal. It all equals out in the end. He took your bonus, and then you had the unfortunate circumstance with Nico Price.
We took his money, so it is what. Shout out to Chaz Skelly, man.
Shout out Chaz. I don't think it's funny. No, he has high praise, and I already know he's gonna be on the same team as us, as picking you against Khaos. So at the end of the day, when you get your hand raised, if you're to say it off the top of your head right now, if you're to pick if I'm gonna win by knockout or if I'm gonna win by submission, I'm not gonna say decision. Which one would you pick at this very moment, based on how you're feeling? What would you say? What do you think?
Based on how I'm feeling, I think I could do either. I could get it done however I want to get it done.
Okay, I like that. So, before I let you go, anything else, or are we good to go?
No, sir. That's it. Oh, shout out to Rude Gang. I'll go check out my YouTube, right? Or just you go to my Instagram, hit the link in the bio. YouTube is there, podcast is there, all of it.
All the fun stuff. Keep up with Rude Boy. Good content. Always good content. So
yes, sir. We got something dropping tonight, so stay tuned.
I'll be looking for that. All right. So for us, Randy, that was always great talking to Randy. So I want to once again thank the sponsor of the show, Living.Fit. Living.Fit is a health and wellness company that will help you achieve all your goals, from building muscle, losing fat, or just to try something new. Not only are there workout programs so they can help with your nutrition and build out your home gym. For all my personal trainers out there looking to get certified in kettlebell or battle ropes, we're the place to be. Make sure you go visit the website or download the app, Living.Fit. Now here is CJ Vergara. We are joined by a very special guest. He is preparing for his second fight in the UFC. We are joined by CJ Vergara. My man, how we doing? How are those? How was the like water thing you're at, whatever, like the site you're at?
It was nice, man. I spent some time earlier at Jacob's Well over in Wimberley, Texas. So the swimming season opened up today. So it's got like basically a big water hole, like 20-some feet deep, and it's like fed by some spring or natural area. It's really nice this time of year, especially.
It looked pretty sweet.
It's hot out here. Yeah, it was a good time, man.
I bet it is pretty hot. You're in Texas. It's got to be
for real. Yeah, and humid
summer
too.
Heat. Yeah.
So it's hot and wet.
Oh man, that's the best.
But it makes the cutting way easier. If I go for a jog outside, what would normally take a few, like 10 minutes to start a good sweat, within the first 5, I'm already tripping sweat.
There you go. Make it a little bit easier. Make it a little
quicker.
Exactly.
Right.
Before you head on over to Arizona. But before we get into the fighting and all the fight game stuff, I have to ask a question about this. I heard a rumor you're on American Idol, and that your first passion was really music.
Yeah. That's facts. That is facts.
Walk us through us. What happened? How far did you make it?
So this was back in 2008, maybe 9. I just graduated high school. I know that. And yeah, at the time I was like pursuing music. I learned to play guitar when I was 14, 15 and was really passionate about it and had some pretty good skill and enthusiasm and was able to get people going with it. So American Idol went to the Dallas stadium. It was we were like the first group of people that was in that stadium where the Cowboys play at right before it opened. So I was in there, and man, there was thousands of people in there. I remember like maybe 20. And the way it worked was like it was like a stadium floor with a bunch of open auditions happening, kind of like almost like a farmer's market situation, like tents everywhere. You'd go up and sing with 4 other people, one at a time, and they'd only give you like 5 or 10 seconds, and you move on to the next, into the next, into the next. I think I made it through the first 3 rounds or something of that particular event before getting booted. It was before the televised portion of it, though. I know that.
Oh, that was one of my follow-ups. Did you ever get to actually meet the
I did
the
not.
host?
I did not.
Oh,
It was a good experience, though. It was cool, man. And I was super young at the time and just willing to try whatever. And so I went out there and had a good time with it.
You can only have a good time with it. Were you one of the guys that usually sing and play guitar at the same time? Did you do both at the same time? Oh, that always helps a little bit. That helps you advance a little bit, you know?
There was a few years back when I had messed up my knee and was out of the game for like a year, and I was making pretty good money just playing around town, just playing and singing covers, really.
This is a good
It's
time.
Wild. And they give you a bar tab too. Hey, yo, they give you like a $50 bar tab when you play at these places. They play you like anywhere from $300 to $500 for 2 hours. It's wild.
Hey,
it's just steal.
Why not?
And it's always cash too. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. The music industry, man, you don't have to make it a profession, but like you can go out there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's easy to make money, dude. It really is easy to make money. You make connections, and at the same time, it's like a passion project. So you're really not doing anything that causes you any stress, you know. So that's the dream right there, right?
Yeah, it's a lot more stressful if you're like, I have to make all my bills meet if I'm playing music. You know, and so like the fight game, you know, that is your job. That is what you're stressing about. But the music thing, you know, like I can go out there, you know, I just fought. I can go have a couple drinks, play some music, make a quick 500. You know, no big deal.
100%, exactly.
You should start advertising. I'm a UFC fighter too, so then they have to up the bill a little bit, up the booking.
That's what's gonna happen. The price is different. The price is no longer the same. I'm gonna keep that in mind for sure, dude.
Yeah, and then little posters. You got UFC fighter playing a set. Make sure you come through.
And like pull up with a black eye too to make sure that it fully sells. You know,
just
go to a hard sparring session the night before. Yeah.
Hallerhead and some Modelo all over the place. You know,
that's it, right? Yeah, waiting on the sponsorship now.
Yes. And another thing before again we get into like you being like a professional fighter weren't you like a backyard fighter before you started really getting into like the amateur and professional? It's like Kimbo Slice and Jorge Masvidal out there.
Exactly, just like that. But I mean, not as gritty because they were like, it was for them. It was so much more of a chaotic environment when you watch their fights. Like they didn't have any set setting. Like I saw Kimbo Slice knock someone out in the parking lot of a boatyard. You know what I mean? And Jorge Masvidal fighting just in this random alley. And so we always did it in like a setting that if you look at this space and you're looking at it with those eyes, you're like, this is a good spot for a fight. There's grass and open area, and I can see these trees over here, which kind of make it an enclosed situation where we can create a bit of a border with people, you know, so you don't have just like open space nonstop. You got to close it off eventually. But yeah, dude, back in high school, I would kind of play like promoter. So I would just be talking shit in between classes, and the two guys that like be bickering back and forth, I would kind of peck at both of them and be like, you know, we can really settle this. You know what I mean? If y'all really trying to settle this, we can get the gloves and see what's up on Saturday. And then we would do that, and then they would kind of build up some heat about it over the week. And by the time they showed up to the fight, they were really either beefing or just hyped to scrap, you know?
Yeah.
And here in Texas, bro, there's no lack of dudes that are trying to throw hands. There's something like, it's like violence is kind of innate out here, at least with the circle that I was surrounded by. So you kind of had to be ready to scrap at any time.
What was your record? Do you remember? Were you undefeated?
Yeah. I think I had like six or seven, a couple of boxing, and then the rest were like MMA regulation. And at the time I didn't train. This was like before I started training. So I would go online and watch like Chuck Liddell's sprawl tutorial and Anderson Silva techniques, or, Matt Hughes, how to shoot a double and how to hold side control and ground and pound, things like that. So I'd watch these videos for hours and hours and hours, and then I'd go try them in the fight, you know, full mount. I learned the full mount, or I learned how to take someone's back. And then the dudes that I was hanging out with, they didn't train either, but they were just a bunch of like dogs. So anytime we were hanging out together, it was always somebody talking shit, and then I'd end up grappling with body shots or something, you know?
I know.
So it just kind of putting it together over the years.
Yeah, it's just like a little evolution. I know, like when I was in college, it would just be like we just get boxing gloves. Like, all right, let's just go. Let's just have a night. Let's
All
have a
day.
fight night.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do it like once
It's
a
like, it's
semester.
just something that I feel like just men at some point in their life, there comes a point where you start to wonder if you could beat your friends' asses. And then if you got the right type of friends, your friends are wondering the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's a real
So,
shit.
yeah.
It's that's like it's like a primal thing we have in our bodies. Like I just
Right.
want to know who's the real alpha among the group. Like who's the real alpha among us all? Is it that guy or is it the quiet guy who you never really hear him talk a whole lot, but maybe he just has
Exactly.
fucking hammer hands. So
You got that right.
yeah, exactly. And so you win the Contender Series. Let's talk about the professional fighting. You win the Contender Series, you move, and then your first fight is probably the biggest card of the entire year of 2021
For
at
real.
Madison Square
Yeah.
Garden. Your first time in New York. It's your UFC debut. Like at what point in that entire week you're like, holy shit, I made it. Like I'm in the UFC.
That's a great question. And for me, it was when I saw Michael Chandler in the lobby of the hotel. So I walk into the hotel to check into the lobby, and the first person that I see at the counter is Michael Chandler. He's got that Sean John looking two-piece on, you know what I'm saying? He'd be doing that sweatsuit thing. So I saw him and it really sank in there. On top of just pulling up to the city. Like you said, I'd never been in New York City like that before or ever before. So to pull up for the first time for that magnitude of event. So seeing that skyline as I landed, and then also I landed with cameras on me. They were doing the Contender Series Next Level. They were filming that second episode. So I already had cameras on me when I landed. So it all accumulated really fast as just like one thing after another, like a snowball effect of this crazy accomplishment that I was about to step into.
What was the second biggest city you've ever been to before you went to New York?
Second biggest city?
Like what was like before you went to New York City? Like what was like the next biggest city? Would you say that you've been to and
Yeah,
really
probably Vegas, honestly.
Okay, so
Vegas, yeah, and I've been to Denver and like Albuquerque or Santa Fe. Like I've been to different places, but never like a city with that urban style of living like New York.
Like a concrete jungle. You've never been in the concrete
Exactly.
jungle like New York. Yeah, see,
It's wild, dude.
It is crazy because I went to New York for
You've
the
been?
first time ever.
Yeah.
First time ever, literally like 2 weeks after '68. But like
Where'd you stay?
I stayed like in Chinatown outside of it, but I went to Brooklyn pretty much all the time.
Tight.
I just went around the entire city. I just kind of want to see most of it. Well, obviously you can't do everything in a weekend, but I grew up.
You really can't.
No, it's like you have to do multiple trips. So I'm from like the Midwest. I grew up in Indianapolis. Like I go to Chicago all the time, which it's not New York, but I mean it is another little concrete jungle. But it's not like I think the craziest thing about New York though is like it just never stops. It's just like when you look out when you're landing, you look out and it's just like constant nonstop just towering towers and like it's just nuts.
And then when you're actually in it, it's also the same thing because like I remember like not getting much sunlight when I was in Manhattan because there's so much shadowing from the buildings around, and then you finally make it like outside of that like the concrete jungle and you can finally see sunlight again. It's like it's a giant, it's like this living organism of metal, bro. It's so cool. It was a good time, man.
I think
it was a good time. I was in Brooklyn for a little bit too.
I liked Brooklyn. So you were able to stay though for a little bit then afterwards.
Yeah. I stayed till like I think the following Tuesday and I did the Empire State Building and pizza. I think we were staying in South Harlem at an Airbnb in South Harlem, and it was like mildly hood, but also like a lot of like Puerto Ricans and Mexicans. So I was chilling. You know what I mean?
Fit right in.
Exactly. A lot of brown skin. You know what I'm saying? So it worked out.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier. No, I just remember, it was like the one thing that pissed me off about New York, or like, it makes sense too, is like they always talked about how like you'd go on at work when it was dark and you leave work when it was dark if you worked like a 9 to 5. And I didn't really realize it. Like it gets dark at like 3:30, like at the like that time of year. Like that's
a very good point.
That also drew me crazy.
That's a good point.
That drove me crazy. If I worked there and like actually worked a 9 to 5, I'd hate myself because like you'd go to work dark, leave it, and you're just back in the darkness. But to be fair,
that's a good point.
Always shadows.
For sure, exactly. All the shadows. A lot of shadow time out there.
Dude, it's a lot of shadows. So I mean, let's talk about the fight itself. It took you a little bit to figure out your distance, but then you figured out your distance and started to really kind of not pull away, but you started to really take advantage of the third round. Going back and looking at the fight, what would you say is kind of like, did it take you a second to really like get into the fight mode, or like what was kind of the biggest thing? Would you say if you had to go back, would you change?
As far as what I would change about my approach to the fight itself is I would have implemented a lot more weapons with my kicks, and I would have utilized my jab more. I relied too much on my check hook, and O'Day picked up on that. So he was able to make adjustments to not get hit by the check hook, which was always followed by that too. And if I would have led with inside low kicks more to set up that hook, or flash that jab out there more often to create a threat down the middle to open up that left hook. But it was too left hook heavy. And I played too much into the rules of engagement from orthodox to southpaw. I constantly had to make sure that my foot was on the outside of his front foot, and I angled away from his power hand. But so much so that I kind of stifled my ability to see the attacks that were available from the inside angle. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So I stayed inside of a tight box and didn't allow my creativity to overflow. And when I did in the third round, I started closing the distance and clinching up and going for knees, defending the takedown, and then striking some more, ended up on top. And my coach said if I would have started with that same pace the first round, I would have put him away in the second round.
There's only so much you can do.
Or the third.
Yeah, I mean,
100%. Yeah.
It's just, and again, that's just kind of, it's like the learning experiences of.
Right. And he was a solid opponent. It was a good fight. It was a really good first fight for me out there because he held his own and he had a lot of nice attacks that I hadn't seen from the way that he stands. Is kind of this weird elbows high, wide stance, but his quick twitch explosion is so sharp that he's kind of elusive about his movement, So it was a really good fight from O'Day.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun fight, and like you've been moved up from that opening. Was it also, before we get in the next one, I was about to open up. Like, was it weird opening the card at Madison Square Garden? Like, what happened? Was it like weird, fun, cool? Like, what was kind of the energy around it? Would you say when you were about to walk out?
As the fight got closer, I started to embrace that aspect. I started to feel like, damn, I'm like the opening act out here. This is pretty cool. Like I'm opening up at the Garden, So that was I appreciated that part of it. Plus, you pull up we pulled up at 2:30 and I was fighting by 6. Or pulled up at 3, I was fighting by 6. I was out of there by like 6:45. So I don't mind that either. And I know this fight I'm a little bit higher up on the card too.
You bumped you up a little bit because I mean, like I feel like pretty much most of your fights are just going to be fun and agile. Like most flyweight fights, they're always all pretty much
exactly
because they're just so high, just so quick, so fast, and just it's so high intensity. And it's like, dude, so you didn't stay for any of the rest of the card? You left after the fight?
No. So they shuttle you back to the hotel, but I had tickets with a couple of friends that were there, and so my brother and I pulled back up to the fights to watch the rest of the card.
Oh, okay. So I know. I saw that video of you going back to the hotel and all that other kind of stuff. I wasn't sure if you went back or not.
Right. Yeah. So after I left the hotel, I just took the subway back to the Garden, and I was there before the main card started. I know that. I think I got there when what's his name? 185er, one that fought Adesanya on a kickboxing card.
Pereira.
Alex Pereira.
Yeah, Alex Pereira. Yeah,
yes,
Pereira.
Yes.
When he hit him with the knee, the finishing.
That's when I pulled up.
Yeah, that's a good time to start.
That card was great.
Dude, it was nuts. That was crazy. And like you guys kicked it off too, which also you got to think about that too, is like they had you open like probably one like on paper before it even started. You'd be like, this is probably one of the best cards they put together in a while. Like this is probably card of the year. Which is again another honor you could really look back on. But it was fireworks, man. Like that shit was crazy. Like not only that, but like you were in person though. So like what was the energy like? Because I talked to Billy Q about it because he was getting ready to fight. And he said, like, when Gaethje dropped Chandler in the second, like, that was the first time he was like, you could really just like feel it in your body of the Garden.
Like, yes, dude. Yeah. It was super. It was the most primal thing I had experienced. It was like, it felt so gladiatorial. And then the way that Madison Square Garden, the top, it's like this. It almost looks like a satin cover over like a lid on it that keeps all the acoustics real, like, just like sunken in. So when Gaethje, who was it that got dropped first? Was it Gaethje? Right?
Gaethje got dropped in the first. Well, he got wobbled. He got the duck.
Yes. And then he dropped Chandler in the
second, and then he really dropped Chandler in second.
Yeah, man. It was. I remember one of my cousins that was across from me he texted me after that fight and was like, "Yo, we're sick for liking this." That's like, man, it really is. Like I'm sitting here and I'm like. For a second there, I'm like absorbed by the experience. So I forget that I was just in there and I'm like, man, this really is some sort of gladiatorial thing that we're doing here, huh?
Yeah. It really is. It's modern day. It's modern day gladiators.
It is, man.
It's modern day gladiators. I feel like that was the like obviously there's moments in that entire card where like obviously crowd gets loud, all that, but that was the one. Even like from home, you could like really hear just like the drop of the Scarred. It just felt like it just unreal amount of set, like the crowd, the reaction, everything. It was just unreal. I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe it. I don't know the proper terms for it. It was just like the bass, like you could feel it in your balls. I think that's the way you say
exactly.
it.
Yeah. 100%, man.
Yeah.
You
like,
absolutely feel it through your balls. Type of bass and vibration in that room. You know,
that's what I was trying to think.
adrenaline spike and everything.
Yes. That's what I was trying. That's what I was really thinking of. Is you feel it in your balls. So let's move forward and talk about this upcoming fight. You are welcoming Clayton Rodriguez. There we go. You're welcoming Clayton Rodriguez into the UFC. So you've been through the same situation he has. He's not going to be in Madison Square Garden, but you're back on a premier pay-per-view card. Going back on, how you kind of felt throughout that week, what's something you're looking to take advantage of through Clayton Rodriguez, knowing this is his UFC debut?
To be honest, I'm not even considering that as a part of the preparation. So like, what can I take advantage of? I know that for me, the advantage is that I know what to expect already. I've done these fighter check-ins at the hotel. I've done the photo shoot and pre-fight interviews with the commentators beforehand, and experienced that machine that is the UFC, because that's what it is. You pull up and everything just starts to unfold like it's a cog happening, and so I feel, I guess, more comfortable moving into this week.
It's like it's hard to be overwhelmed again, especially if you're going to Phoenix, you're not going to Madison Square, like you're not going to New York. It's like all that other kind of stuff. Like you could not have asked for like a bigger card to be a part of than what you were a part of already. So it's not going to be all downhill, but it's like not going to be as, fucking all up in your face, all crazy. And also you probably don't have the Contender Series people following you again.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. The lights, I mean, what, like you said, I opened up at Madison Square Garden. That was my first UFC fight on the biggest card of that year. Mm-hmm. And so that in itself, like you said, it's not that everything won't be, the magnitude won't be as big, but the lights won't be as bright.
Yes, that's the way to look at it. Yes, the lights won't be as bright. You won't have as many cameras in your face. It's a lot more kind of the usual things. So like, how far away are you? Like, are you a drive away from Phoenix, or are you gonna have to fly?
No, I'm a flight. I'm in San Antonio, so I'm South Texas. So it's like a 3-hour flight maybe.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad.
Nah, it's not.
No, not bad at all.
I actually like flying over to the West Coast time zone too. I go to bed earlier, and it just feels like you know what I'm saying? When I was in Vegas a few weeks ago for a week, and I was falling asleep at like 9 o'clock there, versus here I'm asleep at midnight.
It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice that you go to sleep.
It is,
yeah.
It's early burning out there. It was kind of a vibe.
And then also, like, by the time you fight, too, you don't have to worry about like the whole. All right, I have to be ready to peak at like 2-3 in the morning. You have to worry about peaking at a normal time. It's like none of that's gonna be an issue. Like fighting in Abu Dhabi just sounds like hell, which doesn't sound like they're gonna be there for a long time. So that is what it is. So one more question and another question real quick. I'm not gonna ask about the weight cut or anything, like just didn't happen the way it did. But would you consider cutting the hair now if you run into a similar situation again?
No, I'm gonna stick with my answer because I've taken different preparations for this fight. So the weight cut's gonna be a much smoother experience. So I would never even have to consider that.
Okay, I like that. It's like obviously like I could ask you, like you're probably gonna ask this by a bunch of different people, like when you do like your standard thing of like, oh, so how's the weight cut going? Going smooth? Like you're gonna say yeah, it's going smooth. You're not gonna be like, nah, dude, it fucking sucks. I might have another bad. I might not make weight. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. It's like when people. It's like that other question, like that other main question. It's like, you ready for your fight? And it's always like,
nah,
not at all. Actually, I didn't train. I've been sleeping till 3 p.m. Not really ready, but we'll see.
I haven't watched a single minute. No tape. No tape. We're just gonna go in there. Fuck it, dude. Like, why not?
We're gonna figure it out.
We'll figure it out when we get in there. I'll take a couple punches. I'll just wait until I get woken up by a couple hooks.
And we'll get it popping.
Yeah, we'll get it popping. Okay. So one more thing before I let you go. I saw this. I don't know if I agree with it, but has anyone ever told you when you have the braids that you look like Ariel Helwani but with braids?
Oh my God. No. I've never heard that.
I'll say smaller nose too. I'll say smaller nose too.
You have to say smaller nose, bruh.
I wanted to preface. I want to preface. I didn't come up with this. I saw that and I'm like, I don't know for sure, but I wonder if you've ever gotten it. It is MMA, so I don't know if someone's ever come up to you with that. But
I haven't
obviously,
heard that one, but it's probably only a matter of time
nose.
before somebody on MMA Twitter tweets out a pic, like a Photoshop photo of Ariel Helwani with braids or something and my nose. That would be wild if we looked alike, wouldn't it?
It would be wild if you looked alike.
I'm gonna tell him when I talk to him. Whenever I have my first interview with him, I'm gonna refer to this. And I'm gonna tell him, yo, somebody gave you a massive compliment. They said you look like me.
You say you just look like me with some cornrows, Ariel. Maybe you should grow out the hair out again, get it braided, get some cornrows, get a little drip going on. You know,
let's run it on. Let's run up them rows.
Yeah, bring on the rows. All right, man. So that's what we got for you. Obviously, you expect to win this weekend, but if I have to ask, if you had to pick submission, knockout, whatever, how do you think the fight's gonna go?
Oh, it's gonna end in a finish. 100%. There's not gonna be any judges this time around. So I'm gonna look for that finish, and if it's either it's either bring the scalp home or earn my shield type of night,
Mm-hmm. Love to hear it.
That's what we're running with.
Love to hear it, man. So before I let you go, if there's any sponsors you'd like to thank or anyone you want to shout out, go ahead.
Yeah, man. Shout out my boy Josh. Shout out Lil Woodrow's on Braun. They're throwing a big watch party for the fight, so it's gonna be lit out here in San Antonio. And just all my people, all my family, all my friends. You know who you are.
All right. So that is us for CJ. Appreciate y'all. All right. That's our interviews cheering for our boys this Saturday. Hopefully it goes a lot different than it did this past weekend with Gerald Mearshart and Rob both losing. Rob a little harder to lose, but before we move on to our winners and losers, very, very quick fight of the night, performance bonus. We'll talk about the card more with Chaz on Thursday or Friday. So really quick, fight of the night. Rob versus the last minute of every round. Rob dominated about 20 out of every 25 minutes, but somehow, for some reason, I don't know what it is, happened in the Aldo fight. In the final minute, he'd get dropped every fucking round. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mental thing or whatever, but fight of the night was him against the last minute of every round. I think it might be mental. I don't know. I'll talk to Tyson about it, but yeah, fight of the night, Rob versus the last minute of every round. Then my performance bonuses go out to the judges. They made it all about themselves again, giving a terrible decision to one of the best to ever do it in the heavyweight division, Andrei Arlovsky. Judges made it all about them and gave him the win, but it was pretty obvious he lost. And even he said it, I didn't deserve it. So shout out the judges for making it all about themselves. Mickey Mouse win for Andrei Arlovsky. So let's go on into our winners and losers. Harrison, why don't you give us your first winner?
Yeah, my first winner is actually a bit of a shock. It goes to New York football fans because in the first time in I don't know how long, both the Jets and the Giants actually drafted pretty well. And that's kind of shocking. Like, those are two absolute shit show teams, and they didn't fuck up the draft in the way I expected them to. I thought they were going to take, like, the wrong players completely. So, shout out to a division rival. Shout out to the Jets for not fucking it up this time.
My favorite thing about the draft is how we really have no idea how well everyone drafts until like 3 years from now, but we'll go out and give like everyone grades, going out and giving grades to like the Patriots, like F, even though they did reach. Shit, how do we know? Maybe those guys are both all pros in like 2 years. I don't know. That's the beauty of the draft. It's the beauty of the draft.
It's just based off college. It looks like they did pretty well. But yeah, you're right. You just have to see.
It's the beauty of the draft. We're all fucking idiots until they actually play on the
Gotta
football
love it.
field. It's also shit shooting, all about fit, all that other kind of stuff. But anyway, let's go on to my winner. My winner goes to Tristan Connolly. You may not have saw the video, but I've always wondered why no one's ever given a high five to the judges before they walk in, or like one of the refs before they walk into the octagon. After he gets all the fucking Vaseline on his face, gets his gloves checked. The guy says, "All right, gone into the octagon," and then he gives him a little high five as he walks in. And I thought that's one of the funniest fucking things I've seen in a while. That's one of the I don't understand how no one's ever done that, or I've never seen it. So shout out Tristan for doing that. That was funny as hell.
More fighters should do that on their way in. I will never forget. I think it was Austin Matthews when a hockey player scores a goal, the referee points his arm out like that towards the net. And he skated by and just gave the referee a high five after he scored. That's the best shit ever.
It's so fucking funny. It's so funny.
It's the best.
Harrison, your first loser.
This is the only direct. No, it's not. I lied. But my first loser goes to the Philadelphia Flyers because I think this is the worst season I have ever seen them play in my 22 years of life. It's finally over. So just fuck you for dragging me through that. And I'm gonna watch the Flyers next year, obviously, but I'm gonna be a lot less biased, I would say, and more realistic when it comes to being a fan of them next year, because I just don't give a shit anymore. I've never seen a fan base that was once so devoted to a team fall off because of one really, really just horrific season. Like, it's pathetic.
And that's
It's just
talking Philly sports. Let's move on to our
Yes, sir.
first loser, Brandon Schaub. I've never seen anyone be so universally disliked, not only by fans and critics alike, but also by his friends. Joe Rogan literally said you should probably not air your special before you release his first special, and also pretty much just told him just straight to his face some pretty hard shit to tell somebody that's your friend. But shout out Brandon Schaub for releasing another bad special, and somehow being a professional comedian, riding off the coattails of being a UFC fighter. Shout out to him though for being successful, but it blows my mind how he does the things he does in this industry. So shout out Brandon Schaub for that. That is my first loser.
Yeah, some people are just not cut out for comedy, and they should realize that. It's just easy as hell.
I don't think this is a hot take. Joe Rogan, I don't think is that great of a comedian either. I think he's a great podcaster. No. I think he's really good at carrying conversations, but in terms of like stand-up comedy, he's
not really that great.
Not really that great. Not that great. Just spoke some weed talking on the podcast. Love that shit. But when it comes to stand-up comedy, I don't know, man. Anyway, Harrison, your second winner.
My second winner is America, because Scott Frost just got some penalties handed down to him, and when Scott Frost loses, America wins. So, yes, that's my second winner right there.
The Nebraska coach?
Scott Frost, the Nebraska coach.
Well, how the fuck did he get penalties? They suck.
It was something about like the what was it? It was show and hang on. It was the show cause penalty and a 5-game suspension or a 5-day suspension, something like that. It was just like an hour ago.
Oh, that's why I haven't seen it. Well, too bad Nebraska's a poverty program. He's probably gonna get fired anyway. Now they have an excuse to fire him and not pay him his money. So winners, Nebraska football winners.
Yeah, winners Nebraska.
Winners this week. But that's not my real winner. That was your loser, right?
No, that was my winner.
That was your winner. America. Well, my
fuck Scott.
Well, you know
Frost.
What? Yeah. There's my secondary winner there. Nebraska. My real winner though is Paulo Costa. On this program, we are very pro Paulo Costa, one of the best Twitter accounts you can follow. People are starting to catch on to how fucking funny Paulo Costa is, and people are out there saying he doesn't actually tweet. Bullshit. I think he's literally the guy behind he is the guy behind the Twitter. He is the guy behind the account, whatever you want to fucking say. He is that guy. We need to appreciate the fact that he is very, very funny on Twitter. We need more people to follow him. He does all this shit on purpose, act like he's stupid, but he knows it's funny and he does it anyway. So I want more people to realize just how funny Paulo Costa is on Twitter. It doesn't matter like if you like MMA or not. He's a good follow just because he likes to. He makes stupid ass global fans really think he thinks the way he does. So.
If you really think that a social media manager tweets the shit that Paulo Costa tweets, just scroll through his thread. There is no fucking way.
The replies he gives to people are so funny.
I know.
This is your PSA. Go follow Paulo Costa on Twitter, dude. He's so goddamn funny.
it's the best.
He's so funny.
Oh, man.
All right, Harrison. You're last loser.
Yeah, the fucking Pascal Siakam. He's lucky that Embiid might be returning for Game 3, because if Embiid was out for the series, next time he shows his face in Philadelphia, he would get shit thrown at him. Like, that was a dirty ass elbow, and then the Toronto Raptors fans all started cheering and shit. Also, Toronto Raptors fans, they act like the reputation that Philadelphia fans get. But mini rant aside, Pascal Siakam, dirty ass player, cheap ass elbow. Fuck you. Let's go Sixers.
All right. Well, congrats on getting swept. You guys are.
Oh no, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be
very bad. Heater on all cylinders. Luckily, though, we're gonna get the Celtics swept too, so that's great.
It's gonna be a beautiful thing, and then it's gonna be the Heat and the Bucks again.
Yeah. Well, not again. Remember, the Bucks swept them last year, and then everyone was like, "Oh, the Heat suck." Now they're good again, but it's also because they don't have to play the Bucks. The Bucks, people forget how good they are. They just don't try on defense.
The Bucks are so
They don't
good.
try on defense in the regular season. Everyone's like, "Oh, so and so is going to beat them." No, you're not. Get over it. They 20 bombed the Celtics pretty much, and then they kind of stopped trying in the final couple, like second half of the fourth quarter. Like they 20 bombed the Celtics without Chris Middleton. They're get the fuck out of here if you don't think the Bucks are like the favorites in the East. Like
they literally just have to try hard enough in the regular season to get to the playoffs, and then they can go all out. It's absurd to see the
also
difference
shows how
between
bad the
regular
Nets were.
season Giannis.
Shows how bad the Nets were. That sucks.
The Nets are god awful.
New coach.
They just need to change so much about that franchise and get them back on the right track because they should be ridiculously good, but they're just not.
As we said last week, LeBron James, big winner of this playoff so far.
Massive
winner. So I'm going to go to my last loser real quick. It is the Reds. As a Reds fan, dude, we fucking suck. They're actively tanking. This is my little rant. Joey Votto's given his entire career to the Reds. The past couple of years, they've been in playoff contention in the playoffs. And so they decide when he's pretty much at the last couple of years of his career, like, all right, no, let's fucking tank. Fuck Joey Votto. Let's tank and fuck him over. Joey Votto had to come out and say, I'm sorry to the fans. I'm sorry that this is happening. There's nothing I can do. We have control over. I mean, people are wearing garbage bags to the fucking games. They're wearing the fucking brown bags, like sell the team, all that kind of stuff. Then you had like the pop-up situation. You can't tell players to purposely do that. That's just them being that bad. And it's,
oh my God,
this is the most blatant tanking I've seen in a minute. It hurts to watch. I hate seeing it for Joey Votto. I hope he gets traded, but knowing the owner, they're not going to trade him because he's the only person in that team that people want to go watch and buy seats for. So loser, Reds, big loser. Losers.
Joey Votto deserves so much more. He deserves one shot at a ring.
They'll pressure him in the trade. They'll be like, we'll get a ton of draft picks, and then we'll be like last, and we'll make sure we get the very first pick. Which I don't know anything about prospects. So I don't know if this is a big year to tank or not. So
neither do I.
I have no fucking idea. That's talking baseball.
I feel like yeah. Oh, I feel like baseball, the prospects, it's a lot harder to gauge than like
it's not like basketball,
NFL,
football,
and NBA,
anything like that. Yeah,
you're not watching like unless you're diehard. You're not watching college baseball.
You're not watching high school baseball, dude. Like the fuck?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's high school. See, shows how much I know about the prospects in baseball.
Yeah, it's like literally, it's either high school or college. But anyway, I have a bonus loser this week. If you've listened long enough and listen to some of our post interview stuff, you know we are very pro Kanye. We're team Kanye. We're team Kanye's being mishandled. He's being painted as his villain when really he's just a guy who wants to be. He just wants be around his kids and have custody of his kids. Pete Davidson got the tattoos of every one of Kanye's kids on his neck. If you don't know how I don't know what else needs to happen for you to realize Kanye is kind of getting fucked over here, and Pete Davidson isn't this innocent little fucker that we all think he is. He's a piece of shit. You know what? Fuck you, Pete Davidson. You asshole.
Jesus.
The fuck? And now he's being painted as this crazy maniac. And the fuck is this bullshit? Let Kanye have his kids, man. He wants the best for them. He's actually been a good dad. People want to say he's fucking crazy bad dad.
Loves his kids.
The kids love him, but also he's like, I don't want my kids on social media because I want them to get the exposure. They're Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's kids. People are fucking psychopaths already. They're gonna follow everything they do and be weird about it. It's number one, that's good parenting in my opinion. Keep your kids away from that kind of stuff because it's so you see what happens with childhood stars. And then the TV show and all that other kind of shit. So we're team Kanye. Losers, Pete Davidson for getting someone else's kids tattooed on his neck.
And how long before Kim K runs off with some other dude that's not Pete and he just has these random children tattooed on his neck?
Oh, I don't know, but Pete Davidson's definitely a guy who doesn't think about his tattoos before he gets them. He has, by the way, has the worst tattoos. So it's on brand. It's on brand, but he has the worst tattoos.
As much as I love Mike Scott from the Sixers, I thought he had the worst tattoos I had ever seen up until that point, with all those emojis. But Pete Davidson's they just make no sense.
They make no sense.
He got Hillary Clinton's face tattooed on him.
That's kind of funny.
It's funny. But
That's
it's like,
funny.
what the fuck?
Getting another guy's kids tattooed on your neck though, that's not funny. That's just fucking
Yeah,
weird.
no.
So
Unless you're like the stepdad that has been there for most of that kid's life.
and you're gonna be around most of his life, but if you're Pete Davidson, you're gonna be
Yes,
gone
but if
within the
you're Pete
next like
Davidson,
5 years minimum, maximum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my little Kanye rant. I get these in. Kanye was like my favorite artist growing up, so I'm always gonna be Team Kanye.
Shout out
Kanye for being just a good. I'm not gonna say he's a good guy, but he's trying to be a good guy, being a man of God. You know.
He's a mental health awareness expert.
Yes.
And he just tries his best for his kids.
He's just trying to be there for his kids, and he's trying to save. You know what?
Exactly.
Kanye's just trying to save his kids. I can't wait till they make a movie about this. So,
it's gonna be that movie's gonna be insane.
So, we would be talking NBA with Arca. He went to a music festival, so he wasn't available. There's really not a whole lot to report except for the Timberwolves love to blow leads. That Grizzlies Warrior series is already over. The Grizzlies blew their opportunity. Yeah, they're fucked.
Yeah.
They're so fucked. They lost. Draymond got kicked out. Clay missed 2 free throws, which would literally never happen again.
Never again.
One of them played. I think Steph played like shit, or didn't shoot very well, or something like that.
I don't think he shot very well.
There was a third little scenario. I don't know what it was, but anyway, that was their golden opportunity. They blew it, so they're fucked. The best series is easily going to be the Mavericks and Suns, just because Booker's still hurt.
Yes.
Matt and Luka, outside of Giannis, probably the second best player in the playoffs. Give or take.
I would agree.
Give or take.
I would agree.
And then
Luka's been playing out of his goddamn mind.
Yeah, I mean it's Luka. Luka is.
It's Luka.
People don't accept it. He is. It's like these international guys are the faces of the NBA. When you think about it, it's kind of crazy. You really think about all the faces of the NBA. Are like they're pretty much all international.
Giannis, Luka, Jokic, Embiid.
Yeah, they're all from all over. And then to see the Heat, Sixers, like who knows what's gonna happen with maybe Harden all of a sudden comes out of his shell and goes back to
we'll see.
Houston. Maxey could go off, but at the same time though, I can't doubt the Heat could also be so fucking arrogant. They try to load manage the next couple of games and like rest Lowry and Butler, which would be very fucking stupid. But as arrogant as Miami is, that's always possible. So who knows? But we're not going to pay proper respect to Miami, so we're going to say Sixers and 7.
Sixers and 6. I'm going Sixers and 6.
Yeah,
Sixers and 6.
Yeah, I want to say a lot of these are going to be sweeps. It just seems too obvious.
Well, I mean, the Bucks is going to be a sweep.
I think the Bucks. Bucks will go 6 or 5.
6 or 5.
6 or 5, and I think they're going to have because the Bucks are always due.
I can see the Celtics.
The Bucks.
Celtics would take one at home.
The Bucks always lay a stinker. That's the thing about them. They always lay a stinker. So we're due for one of those. I mean, the Mavericks, Suns will go far. The Grizzlies will get. Grizzlies are scrappy enough to get one, maybe.
Yeah.
Sixers will get one when Embiid comes back. The Sixers will get one.
If Steph comes back, I think. Well, Steph goes back to form, I should say, not comes back.
He'll be back in form.
Then, it's going to be over very soon.
Yeah, I think the Sixers could steal a couple when Embiid comes back.
If we steal one in Miami before Embiid comes back,
it's a series.
Then that's a series.
That's a series.
But
who knows it's too much of a shit shoot. Yeah. So that's talking NBA. We'll be more in depth with it next week, and we'll probably have more of an idea of what's going on. It's just kind of everything kind of seems pretty obvious at the moment, which is sometimes the case of the NBA. But I mean, to be fair, I was one of the few people to say the Timberwolves would give the Grizzlies a shot at their their money, and I was right.
And they did.
That was really the only series that really felt pretty close. Well, the Pelicans
Cat poured his heart into that.
Yeah. Pelicans Suns is pretty competitive too. So we'll see what happens. We'll talk dark about it next week. Friday. At the very minimum, we got Chaz back on. We'll talk some fights. That'll be fun. And then we got Martins Lisi's coming up either Friday or Tuesday. And then I'm trying to have Rob Font's coach Tyson Chartier and Calvin Cater's coach Tyson Chartier on the show Friday. So we'll keep you guys updated. At the very minimum, expect Martins Lisi's and Chaz Skelly over the next week. So without further ado, that's the show. See you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around with me all the way to the end. I just want to once again thank the sponsor of the show, Living.fit. If you're looking to better yourself, make sure you go to download the app or visit the website living.fit today.